When I was originally signed off, he sent me to see the physio, and the physio basically said to me, "There's nothing I can do for you. There's not enough power coming through the nerve for me to allow you to do anything." He said, "All the other stuff you're doing is keeping the rest of your body fit. Just keep doing that." And that's really what I did. When I started running without a sling on, I did build a little bit of bicep muscle up. Today, even now, when I'm tired and I'm running, my arm just dangles at the side. But I've got used to that, and my breathing's now better. The only time I went to see somebody was when I started doing triathlon. I was having real trouble breathing, and I saw a breathing specialist, believe it or not, and she said, "We need to find out if your lats work or if they're part of the damage." She said, "Because you're really only using the top half of your lungs, and we need to get that energised so that you can use the whole of your lungs and fill everything up." And that works fine. So it was just a case of basically trying to do some exercises to build my lats up at the side so that I could breathe better, and that worked quite well. And that really was the only thing that I've done. They gave me tablets which were, at the time, antidepressants were the only thing that they thought would work, and they didn't work for me at all. It was such a small dose that it made no difference whatsoever. So basically for the last 25 years it's just been what it is, and you get used to it. You genuinely, being an endurance athlete, you get used to pain, so you go through it. And as I say, it's very, very rare that it gets to the point where it's disabilitating. And I think probably 3 or 4 times in the last 25 years it's been like that. So it's just something that you get on with and live with, because there was constant pain, and in the very early days it was sharp, constant pain, and it was only as the nerves began to heal, particularly after the operation, that began to subside. And over the years, as I say, I don't actually know whether the pain's more or less, or whether it's just I have become more attuned to the fact that it's always there. And I say there's nothing you can do about it, so you put up with it and crack on. And that's just about the long and the short of it. And as I say, it depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm very run down and I'm coming down with something, it always gets sorer then. And I think that's just the body's way of it's looking for stuff that's broken to try and fix. And that's why it gets sore then, I believe. I don't know whether that's a medical fact or not, but that's how I look at it. And it's just a case of, right, okay, I need to ease off and I need to let my body heal itself, and take it from there. So it was I think it was a 10-15 minute session just to see how it felt. And even in that short time, my shoulder doesn't get sore, but it's like frozen. And that's a lot better than it used to be. So at the start, my whole shoulder up here, there was no feeling in it. It just felt frozen. And over the years, that has got much better. And the first time I came, everything was looser, and there probably was less pain. And my thumb and my finger next to that, they're where I always get the pain. And that first session certainly made it feel looser, if that makes sense. And then the hour session that we've just had, the whole thing feels much more relaxed. There's nowhere near as much shooting pain in these 2 fingers. They almost feel normal, and that sounds daft, but if they're not really sore, they feel frozen or swollen, and they don't feel like that now. They feel normal. I can still. It's like a very, very thin buzzing in my thumb, but it's not painful. Whereas when it gets sore, as I say, when it gets really bad, you get this build up, sort of up here-ish. There's no specific place, and then you get this shooting electrical pain, comes down your arm and buzzes away in these 2 fingers here, and I don't have any of that at the moment. So I can feel them, there's something there, but there's no, it's like very, very, very bad pins and needles, but there's nothing really at the moment. It just, there's a feeling there, and that's it. It's the least it gets. It doesn't get any better than that, and that's the best it gets. So that's where it's at the moment. And that the whole thing on the left hand side just feels more relaxed.
That's great. That's great. I mean,
yeah, it does. It really genuinely does feel better. I think, as I say, this happened 25 years ago, and the operation I had was cutting edge at the time. When they did the actual second operation, there was about 20 student doctors in the surgery to see how it was done and what they were doing. But things change over the years, and it's a quarter of a century ago now. So stuff like this, if that had been available then, I think it'd have been a completely different matter. It's never something that can be fixed completely, but you can certainly make it feel better, and that's a good thing. When we were through the machine, and Tracy and Vanessa were there, and I can feel the machine pulsing, but I can't feel any of my fingers or stuff moving. But apparently this finger was tapping away. Yeah, and I don't feel that. I could feel my bicep once it started to build up a bit. I could feel that flexing, and in here, next to my lung, that was the bit I could feel first when it turns on, and that never moves because it's not there's nothing there. It just doesn't go where it used to go. It now goes to my bicep, but I think it's the tract of where they've taken it that was pulsing away. It wasn't, and it's not an unpleasant feeling at all. In fact, I find it quite relaxed. I thought the whole thing was relaxing because Nessa was saying to me, "That's quite high. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I like it. It's good. It feels nice." Bed and pads. One on the underneath, one on the top. That was fine, and then my hand just on the top. So the one with my hand was on the top. None of them felt sore, but that was a different sensation. It was more the other ones I found really relaxing, and it was I don't know how to explain it. It was a constant, not a thud, but it just felt pleasant. Whereas the one with my hand, it felt a little bit sharper. Again, not unpleasant, but it was just a different sensation. No, as I say, I'll be interested to see how quickly the hand goes back to the way it felt, because it was probably, with the 10 minutes the last time, probably got a day, maybe a day and a bit out of it. So after being on for an hour today, it'd be interesting to see how long we go before it sort of goes back to the way it felt before.
I will do.
If it does.
Yes, no.
Yeah, absolutely will.
No,
that would be interesting for me as well, because as I say, it clearly makes a difference. There's no two ways about that, because my arm and my hand feel nicer, for want of a better word. But as I say, it did after the very short session the first time, and that probably lasted maybe a day.
Okay.
So it's been a much longer session this time, and it'd be much more interesting to see how long that lasts and where it goes from there. But it's certainly, as I say, I could quite easily have gone to sleep and just have it pulsing away.